overview of the challenges for the My Little Scrapbook Store True Crime Scrap Pack. Normally we sell this in a live, but we wanted to make sure we went in a little bit more detail in some of these. And so still go over it in quick detail in a live, but you'll have this to refer back to. So a quick challenge overview. First of all, the most important thing is to read the guidelines. Basically what the guidelines say is that you need to do what the challenges say. You need to put your entry under the correct challenge, and that there will be one entry per challenge. And with the exception of the I did it all, you can only enter individual pages per challenge. So you can't use one project for two different challenges, for example. The prizes will be drawn at random for everybody that correctly entered a challenge, and you have until 8/24 of 2025 to do this. So challenge one, pretty self-explanatory. It is the crime scene tape. Use yellow and black paper or embellishment. So we need to see yellow and black on your page. Ink splatters. So this is blood splatter analysis. I think one of the things that we have talked about a lot is that red ink splatters look like blood. So we're going ahead and we're using that. So get those ink splatters out. You don't have to use red. Red's preferred. I'd love to see a lot of red this time. Notebook doodles, handwritten journaling. It can be anywhere on your project. It could even be if you had a card, you could do a handwritten sentiment on the inside, but handwriting on your project. So the smoking gun. So this is where you need to have a focal element on your project that is highlighted by arrows. So anything on your project and having arrows put to it. Some examples would be having the photo and have some arrows pushing to the photo, or perhaps in your photo you want to highlight one person or one thing, have some arrows pointing to that. But it's basically utilizing arrows to show something in your project. Mugshot. Have a selfie. That's as simple as it can be. Add a selfie on your project. We like to see selfies, and we like to see you in your own scrapbook project. Challenge 5, newspaper clippings. So here we expect you to use text-based paper. So I know Vicki Booten, some of the 49 Market, some of them have graphic text-based papers. I know in the Simple Stories collections for the safeties, for example, there's a whole paper that just says making magic or magic memories. So you can use any text-based paper, or if you don't have that, you can use some text-based embellishment. So word strip, those kinds of things. Let's make sure they're prevalent on your project. The red string board. Here we go. We're going to connect elements on your project utilizing string or twine. So let's get out that string and twine. Let's go ahead and make a banner. Let's make big photo elements. Let's do something, but the key is connecting elements. So we don't just want it to be hanging out of a tag. We want it to actually take one thing to another. And now we're going to destroy the evidence. So challenge 8 is destroy the evidence. Tear or distress, you can use an ink, you can use distressing tool, some of the paper on your project. So let's mess up that paper. Let's go ahead and distress it. You could stamp on it, you could smudge it, you could tear it, you could use a distressing tool, whatever it is, let's distress some of our projects. A coded message. Notice how this one says help. Use hidden journaling on your project. So use a flap, a tag, a insert, whatever it is. Let's put some hidden journaling out there on your project. And we also have typed journaling. So that you notice for this one, there's a lot of journaling prompts that gives you a little bit of things you can do, kind of opening up your freedom on how you can interpret the rest of the project. But for this one, we're going to use some typed journaling. One of the things that I like to do is put typed journaling right on a photo that has some white space. So if you use a photo editing software, or if you use Microsoft Word even, you can put your photo in there. So let's just see some typed journaling on your project. Emboss on your project. So I said can be wet or dry embossing. So you could use an embossing tool. You could actually do the heat embossing, or if you have some of those die cut machine folders, the embossing folders, feel free to use that. So emboss on your project to do some fingerprint analysis. Now, here's a fun one, surveillance footage. Use a black and white photo, simple as that. Or if you don't have black and white photos or you don't like black and white photos, create a project that's mainly black and white. So mainly black and white, maybe a pop of color, but let's do these for surveillance footage. Timeline. So I think this one might cause some people to ask some questions, so we'll go over it really quickly. Arrange your layout in a chronological manner to make sure that there's a clear timeline of events. So in this, the idea here is to have either multiple pictures or multiple journaling spots to show how something occurred. So I'll show you the example of what I plan on doing. So this is a Lego build that John and I did. And this is the first picture when we just opened the box. This is the second picture when we were mid-build. And this is the third picture of us creating the actual parrot, finishing the parrot. My plan is to arrange this on the page, 1, 2, 3, and talk about step 1, step 2, step 3, kind of what we did, but arranging the photos in an order that shows what happened. You could do that with kind of anything you have, either photos or journaling, but to actually show a timeline. Now we get to a cold case. So for this cold case, what we're going to do is leave a lot of white space on your layout. So actually use, it doesn't necessarily have to be a white piece of paper, but make sure your background paper is kind of a solid color and leave a lot of space. Let's let the paper breathe. Let's let the project breathe. But let's have some cold cases there. Nosy neighbors. Create a project about a neighborhood or about your neighborhood or a neighborhood in which you grew up. So this is really simple. Just create a project, take some pictures around your town, or talk about the town you grew up in, but that's it. Just a project about the neighborhood you grew up in or the neighborhood you live in now. Here's another one that I thought that might cause some questions, so we'll go ahead and talk about it here. Behind the mic. Create a project about a podcast you love. A lot of us listen to podcasts, whether it's scrapbook related, true crime related, or whatever. But let's say you don't listen to podcasts. Here are 5 popular titles that I think should be sounding board. So there's a podcast called Stuff You Should Know. So Stuff You Should Know, kind of a great jumping off point. Then there's This American Life. Do you have 4th of July photos? Do you have photos about coming to America? Do you have photos about immigrants in your life? This American Life would be a good one. New Heights. That's the Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce podcast. But New Heights is anything. Did you do something new today? Have you done something you've never done before? Crime Junkie. So let's take it back to our original theme. But Crime Junkie. Did you see something on the news? Is there something you're really interested? Do you have a big hobby? So Crime Junkie. And then Office Ladies. Do you have friends at work? Do you hang out with people that you know? So Office Ladies. And these are all podcasts that I recommend listening to at least once. Challenge 17. This is the detective story. That's Scooby-Doo. We got Hercule Poirot, Miss Marple, Sherlock. But create a project about a surprise or mystery in your life. So tell that detective story. Don't have one? Use the word surprise as your title. So the word surprise needs to be your title. Okay, here we go. Another journaling prompt. Deep dive. For this one, we want at least 3 paragraphs of journaling. You can hide the journaling. You can have it typed. You can have it handwritten, but at least 3 paragraphs of journaling. Let's really talk about one of the projects that we put together. Okay, who done it? Create a project about a mischievous pet or child. So this is pretty simple. Do you have a pet or a child that's done something that's a little bit sneaky? Let's make a project about that. You could also, for this one, just FYI, you could use some of that really cool pet Sybil Stories pet collection and make a card. There's a couple of those that have like the cat doing funny things, the dog doing funny things. You could use that to make a card too, and that would meet this challenge. Last known location. Create a project about a place you frequent often. So this is another kind of like your neighborhood, but somewhere that you go all the time. Maybe it's not your neighborhood. So for me, it could be Disney World. Create a project about a place you frequent often. 21, the case. Let's create a project with an interactive element. So let's pull out a tab. Let's open a flap. Let's have a swinging element. Let's do something on your project. To be a good one for cards, so that you could actually, flip something out. You can make a window. Hopefully some of the design team will show you how to do this one. but an interactive element. Challenge 22 is our plot twist. So we're going to have, I got arrows again here, but got this diagonal with a little bit of rotation. Create a project based on the sketch. You'll see down here, it does have journal your story, so you could journal in the end. Court of public opinion. So this one's kind of towards the end, but what we want you to do is scrap list somebody from this group. So make sure you accredit the original. Let's go ahead and find someone in any of the crop challenges. It can be any of the ones you found here and scrap list them and give them credit. Let's kind of keep the ball rolling and try to have as many people fill out this one as possible. And finally, challenge 24, lie detector test. Here's your card sketch. This is the sketch for the card based on the lie detector. You'll notice the squiggly lines. There's a sentiment, some flowers, but create a card or a project. You could do a project based on this as well. And you case closed. That's it. If you do all of the 24 challenges, you can post in case closed. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, you can post them either in the questions on the Facebook group or in the comments below. Hopefully this was a good way for you to see all of the different challenges and give you a little bit of an update. Thanks everyone. Bye.